Hi guys, Jill here. It's been a while, but I'm back, at least for right now. So anyway, I want to show you how I made this shutter card. And this is the mock-up, and I'll show you, or I'll finish one and show you pictures of the finished one. And they're really easy to make. I looked up a few on YouTube, and so I wanted to show you the process. Okay, so first of all, I'm using the new Possum set from Art Impressions. I'm using the circle double stitch dies, also from Art Impressions. I cut the focal image out of the square double stitch dies from Art Impressions. And this isn't quite finished, but here's how you can see how I cut the image out, and I colored it in with my Copic markers. And I will have a list of the markers that I used on my blog. And I also did a little inside guide. I used the paper collection Happy Birthday Girl from Echo Park. And I used some papers from Simon Says Stamp and one from Stampin' Up. And it just happened to be the blues. This is from Stampin' Up, and this is from Simon Says Stamp. I only had one sheet of each. Okay, so the main part of this is to show you how it goes together. And I had started another one. I started the mock-up, and I figured I needed to actually show you how this is done. Okay, so here is this was a piece of 8.5 by 11 inch paper. I kept I cut it in half like we normally do to make 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but I didn't score it yet. So you're going to come in to do a gatefold, really simple. Whatever board you have, I went in at, it was 2 1/8. Yeah, I haven't done this in a long time. I think that's obvious. So yeah, half of 4 1/4. So I will find it in my notes once I'm done. Okay, so I did one fold. Now you could flip it over and do the other fold, but sometimes that leaves you with a gap. So I gave this a good burnish with my Teflon bone folder. And then I'm just going to come in and try not to crack the paper. So give it a light fold to start, and then fold it. And you shouldn't crack the paper, and that way your gates line up. Okay, so then I'm going to decorate them with that baby girl paper. And I have pre-cut these, and they're an odd measurement because I cut really, so they're 3 1/2 inches long, and this is where the odd is. 1 7/8 inches on these. So those will go right there. Probably not even going to get to that part or bother with that part because that's self-explanatory. It's the innards that I want to explain to you. Okay, so this paper is cut 3 1/4. Wait. 3 3/4 by 3 1/2, and this is the 3 1/2 inch side, and I put a 1/4 inch score line on the edge of it, and I made 2 of those. These are going to be the shutter mechanism. Now you can just come in and make a V and have a shutter and just duplicate that. Draw a halfway point to how far down you want the V, which would be about here. I didn't love that look. On my mock-up, I almost got it right with the circle where the circle came all the way out. But then I cut with a bigger circle and it actually works better. So on the dies, on the circle dies, I used the second one in to cut the shutter part. Okay, So I actually saved it from the mock-up that worked for me. The only problem was I didn't leave enough space for the mechanism to open. I made the sides a 1/2 inch, and I used foam tape, and that didn't work. So I'm using foam tape again, but I used a 1/4 inch, and that gives you less resistance, and it doesn't fight you, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to run this through my die cut machine, but I just put it at about there. It's not an exact science, and so it's about 1.25 inches out to this part that's left off of there, but I'm going to cut some of this off too. So this is going to be loud and probably shake. It's my die cut machine. But I haven't edited a video in years. That's the old Vagabond, still kicking. Okay, so then you take that off, and you have that. And then I'll just come over to this one, put it down like I did before. Again, not exact. And then I'll pull the waste out. And then I stick this on the inside because sometimes it'll pull your paper up. The Vagabond is really powerful. And this actually shifted a little bit. And I don't want it uneven from top to bottom. Okay, loud noise shaking, sorry. Again, haven't gotten my situation figured out. And you get to see my arm up close, all those fun things. Okay, so here are the 2 pieces that are going to make the shutter portion. And so what you do, so simple, you just bring them together, right? And then that's your shutter. It has a tiny little opening, but not much. And then, again, just eyeballing it, you're going to come in with scissors and cut some of the little tip off of it on each side. And a little bit more than 1/4 inch is what I did. No one's going to see all the guts of this quite as much. It's going to be hidden. So this is what's going to hide it. We're going to cut another piece. And this piece is 3.5 inches wide. Oh, by 5.5 inches tall. And then I just picked a spot for where I wanted to put the circle. And then I came in with a smaller circle. And that one is the 4th one in. And I just cut that out of the top paper. And then I did very similar to what you just saw me do. I took the waste and I put it on the teal paper and cut that. I didn't cut the 2 together, and I don't recommend it. The machine will cut it, but it leaves the outside of the die. It leaves that circle part and printed, and it doesn't look as good. So that's why I was more fussy about it. You do what works for you with that. Okay, so this is what's going to hide the mechanism, and I need to determine on my paper, it's going to be spread more at this point, where the shutter's going. So that's a good spot for it right there. Okay, so I just hold it down. Hopefully my glue's working. I love this glue. I've got to put a little bigger tip in it, but it is my favorite right now. It's the Craft Tacky from Simon Says Stamp. And you don't need a whole ton of it. And this stuff holds, believe me, because like I told you, I messed one up. And I had to take it apart. So you just close the gate. I guess is the way to say it. That side of the card is the gatefold. So A little more glue over here. Close the gate. Okay, now it's not quite dry, but that's how the mechanism works. And then I'm going to put a little more on this side. It really soaked in. Look at that. Okay. Sorry about my nails. I was grooming my dog and he gets so dirty outside. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to want to place our little possum. And again, we just want him to be peeking through that window. And this is the card I had to tear apart. You can see it's still on the back there. I got the other parts off with undo, but this, that was the parts with the foam tape. And let me tell you, this glue doesn't work very well with undo. It is stuck once you put it down. Okay, so that way we have a little piece of paper coming through the back, as well as the image kind of peeking out. And look at his little hands. He's up to something, huh? Okay, so now, this might be a little premature, but again, don't want this video to last forever. So now we're going to close it and see, again, you're not going to see, well, again, you're going to see the shutter. That's worse than the first one. But anyway, doesn't matter. We see him. Okay, so now I'm going to take some foam tape. Now, here's where, this is the one I tore apart. And I found out that some of the foam tapes just aren't thick enough. I used the Darcy's, or is it Doris? Doris strips, and it is not thick enough. So you want something a little thicker. These are some Anna Griffin foam squares, and they work perfectly. And I'm sure I'll find something else out there that works just right, but for now, this is what I found that worked. And so I'm gonna stick with it. So this is really interesting, huh? So anyway, so I've been absent for quite some time, and I was sick. I had to get some surgeries, and it was in October that I was really sick. I had cancer. So it was kidney cancer, so they had to remove my right kidney, and that took a lot of recovery. It was just exhausting. So, but the good news is I'm cancer-free once again, and I, you know, have restored all of my normal activities inside the house, and I just don't leave because I am very high on the risk chart for COVID-19. So I just don't leave the house. And I've been in the house for, I think, 2 months, and it's, you know, it's been good. At least I know as crafters, we have plenty to keep us busy. So I've just been working on my design team projects, and cards for my mom to give people, and it's been really good. I don't have to do anything. And it's been really strange having doctor's appointments on the phone. It's just an adjustment, as you all know. Okay, so now you're going to hold your card open, and you want to land it right in the middle of the two, or kind of in the middle. Try to be in the middle. So you put it in the middle of the two gates again, and now it closes and it opens as the person opens it. Now they're not really going to see that there's a gap in the shutter, they're just going to see the shutter when it's fully open. So I want to close this because I really am wanting this to set. And then the last steps are that you need to put whatever decorations you have and then your image. And this one's not quite done, but it's going to be on here and it'll open. And like I said, when you see this video, it'll be done and everything will be glued together and it will have the coloring finished on here. So there you go. That's how you do, it's a peekaboo shutter card. And I think if you're a little more precise, there's some tutorials out there that give you exact measurements, or if you want to do the square version. So as always, thanks for stopping by and have a great day.